Hello, Radhya. Hi, Radhya. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Hmm. We're going to cover up our session that we had left in our previous class, basically. Okay. Yeah. So we will be covering about this only. Hi, Radhya. Yeah, so we had left basically developmental, before again, as I was talking about genetics and all, before doing that also, we had left on issues in lifespan development. Okay, now what happened in this basically? So sorry. Now, what are the issues basically lifespan development, the way how we progress, the way how we do this all thing. Before that also, Radha, I really wanted to ask you, I'm extremely sorry, but I won't be able to again on my camera. The thing is, I don't know what's wrong, but the minute when I'm clicking on this, you can also see on my screen, it's just showing zoom unable detect camera. I don't know why. It is maybe because I'm recording the session, that's why. I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. But will that be okay if I do not turn on my camera? Because even though if I'm trying to do it, I am unable to do it, whenever I am clicking on this. So just let me know if that is fine. Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you so much, Radha. Yeah. But if it is possible for you, you can turn off, turn on your camera if that is your internet, if that is possible, because I understand you have already told me regarding your, internet issue. So yeah, that is fine. But yeah, do let me know. Okay. So we're going to start with today's session. So the first one that we have is nature versus nurture. Okay. Now the thing is, हमारे developmental. Okay. Whenever we are developing or any such thing, two things always and always, is a biggest debate. Like as I was also talking about in introduction to psychology, the biggest debate is nature versus nurture. That whether it is related to genetics or whether it is related to environment. And we will also going to learn more about this basically in our further class as well. So, what happened in this is I'll want to explain, but along with that, we also have continuity versus discontinuity. Then we have early versus later experience and stability versus change, basically. What we'll do is we'll quickly going to cover up all of that. Now, nature versus nurture basically means nature means क्या होता है? Nature is totally related to genetics. Okay, so whether whatever development is happening into you, it either if there are any issues also that is occurring in your body or maybe any development that is occurring in your body, it's always because of either genetics कि आपके पेरेंट्स आपके बायोलॉजिकल पेरेंट्स जो होते हैं उनकी वजह से होता है या फिर नर्चर that basically means because of an environment basically that happens. Okay, so nurture refers to an organic, as I was talking, nature refers to an organism's biological inheritance and nurture to its environmental experiences. Yeah, जो भी आपके environmental experiences होते हैं all this thing related to that. Now the thing is, whenever we are talking about continuity versus discontinuity, now the continuity discontinuity issues basically examines whether the development occurs gradually or in distinct stage. Okay. Now continuity refers to gradual, cumulative changes like a child learning to speak. Conversely, discontinuity involves abrupt changes such as child's shift from concrete thinking to abstract thought or physical changes during puberty. Development can be seen as a mix of gradual process and distinct stages depending on whether it is emphasized nature, that is different stage, or nurture, that is gradual progression. Now the thing is, another debate that is a lot is पहले तो अगर development जब भी हो रहा है तो lot of questions are there whether it is because of genetics or it is because of the environment that development is happening. Or another question that we have is always continuity versus discontinuity. That is more like continuity basically means कि whether it is gradual cumulative changes जैसे कि a child learning to speak, so that is very gradual. एक दिन में कोई बच्चा सीख मतलब फटाक से सीखना है तो चालू नहीं कर देगा, तो it is continue, it is a continue process. Okay, that gradually keep developing and keep developing. Whereas discontinuity involves abrupt changes, such as child shift from concrete thinking to abstract thought, or physical changes during puberty. तो वो कैसे कुछ पॉइंट्स पे आता है एंड देन इट डिसकंटिन्यूज. ओके, इट्स नॉट लाइक ऑलवेज that particular continuation doesn't appear. So that is called as discontinuity. Again, like depending on whether it emphasizes on nature, that is different stages, or nurture, that is gradual progression. Now, when we are talking about early versus later experiences, now again the questions come like it focuses on degree to which early experiences, especially in infancy, or later experiences are the key to determinants of child's development. तो child develop किससे होता है? या तो अगर if you people like, of course in psychology we are very much aware about Sigmund Freud who talks a lot about unconscious mind, who talked कि हमारी जो development, हमारी personality जो develop होती है, everything is because of our childhood behavior. Whereas we have also seen Alport who was more like कि नहीं नहीं, हम लोगों की जितनी भी डेवलपमेंट्स हो रही है हम लोगों की बॉडी में एंड ऑल दिस थिंग, दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ योर कॉन्शियस स्टेट, दैट इज बिकॉज how adults basically develop maturation and all this thing. So this basically had like become a very large question कि whether our development happen because of our childhood, कि हमारा childhood किस तरीके से जाए उस पर डिपेंड होता है हम लोगों का adulthood, और इज इट बिकॉज ऑफ आर like लेटहुड एक्सपीरियंसेस ऑल्सो, कि हमारे लेटहुड एक्सपीरियंस में मतलब अडल्टहुड एज में जो भी हम लोगों के एक्सपीरियंसेस होते हैं, it is because of that. Yeah, that we have stability versus change basically. Now, stability states that some traits remain more or less constant only throughout our lives, and some theories state that some characteristics are flexible and change basically throughout the life. Now, what happened in this is uh, stability versus change. Now, stability basically states that some traits remain more or less constant throughout our lives. कि कुछ कुछ like बहुत ज़्यादा constant ही रहते हैं. They are very stable. Like some of the trait. For example, if you are kind, you will always going to remain kind. Even whatever thing is happening, but mostly you will going to it will going to remain same only. Whereas there are also traits and all which basically changes. Okay, for example, some theories state that some characteristics are flexible and change throughout the life, whereas some of them, for example, वो इतने flexible नहीं होते हैं. जैसे कि शायद अभी आज आप लोग you are very calm, you are very nice, maybe in future because of certain thing will going to happen, you are not that calm, you're not going to remain that calm. So that totally depends on stability and change. So these were the major big question, that is nature versus nurture, continuity versus discontinuity, early versus later experience, and stability versus change. That which among them basically gives you like we all an idea कि अच्छा ठीक है, whatever thing is happening, it's our development is happening either because of genetics or because of environment or because of stability or flexibility or because of what the exact reason is. Okay, then we have scope of human development basically. Now the thing is, when we are talking about scope of human development, the first is physical development. It refers to growth and enhancement of motor skills, body system, and physical abilities over time basically. Okay, so what all are the scopes कि कहाँ कहाँ. Hello, a minute. Mm, just give me a minute. Can you people hear me? I'm not so sure. Hello, hello, Radha, can you hear me? Mm. Hello, Radha. Now can you hear me? Okay, I can see. You are reacting. So yeah, I will going to consider that you are listening. Can you just maybe write on the chat box that yes, or that you can hear me? Okay, thank you so much, Dadya. Yeah, so I was talking about scope of development basically कि कहाँ कहाँ human developments होता है. So the firstly is physical development. So it refers to uh, to the growth and enhancement of motor skills, body system, and physical abilities over time. Okay. Now the thing is what happening is like where growth are happening. So as we're talking about like developmental may see growth is all about physical, but when we're talking about development, development is related to physical, cognitive, emotional, social, and moral basically. So we'll be seeing basically related to physical. Now again, don't worry, I will be anyways covering this all. So I'm just telling you from like upper say. Oh my god, this camera is not on. Yeah, from the upper side I will be explaining you. Now physical development. When we are talking about this, physical development totally means how your motor skills, आपके thinking skills कैसे develop हो रही है, your height, weight, muscles and all these things, how these are developing, how your skeletal structure and organ systems are also developing. For example, your brain, your neurons are increasing, your heart, your lungs, and all these things. Then sensory development includes improvement inside hearing, touch, taste and smell. The more when you grow up, you are able to see more properly, you are able to smell more properly, sense things more properly. So this also happens. Now hand-eye coordination also develops a lot. Then development milestone, like rolling over, sitting, standing, all these things, how you are working, how again it does come into all your fine and motor skills basically. These also develop. And then also puberty, that is in adolescence mein, this also increases, like onset of sexual maturity includes primary and secondary sexual characteristics. Then when we are talking about health and physical fitness basically, like for example your strength, your flexibility, when you are in your childhood you won't have that much strength as much when you grow up. So this also develops basically. And your brain and nervous system. Okay, so these all are the also things that basically grows up. Then when we are talking about, yeah, another is, as we were seeing, social. Then apart from this also, along with physical, social development also happen. Now when we are talking about social development, give me a minute. Yeah, when we are talking about social development, it fully means basically it refers to the process through which individual acquires skill, behavior, attitude necessary for interaction and building relationship with others basically. Now what happened in this is like social development. When you are in your childhood, you will see कि you won't interact that much with people and you do not have that much sense कि अच्छा ठीक है या फिर जाके बात भी कैसे करनी है. But the thing is, the more when you grow, when you start growing up, like your age and all, basically. Now again, age is also kind of growth only because it is quantitative, you can count it. Whereas when you grow up, then after that, when you are seeing कि अच्छा ठीक है, how you are very much aware कि अच्छा ठीक है society में how we are supposed to stay, how we are, for example, infancy, attachment and trust building with caregivers. Okay, they're going to build that. Then toddlers, toddlerhood, basically sharing, taking turns, and recognizing others' perspective. Now, when we're talking about childhood, you will mostly going to develop, you start developing friendships with a friend, school friends, जैसे आप school में जाते हो, all these things. Then adolescence, basically, you will start identifying formation and exploration of deeper relationships. And then when we are talking about adulthood, it is more related to how building long term relationship and contributing to society. You start thinking अच्छा ठीक है, अब मैं एज अ अडल्टहुड हो गया, मुझे आई नो दैट हाउ मेच्योर आई एम. You might start thinking what I can do for my society, how I can make it more better, all these things. So this all development, this all thought process of development basically come under, yeah, social development. Okay, now along with social development, देन वी हैव एनवायरमेंटल डेवलपमेंट कि हमारा एनवायरमेंटल में कैसा प्रोसेस होता है. इट इन्वॉल्व्स द ग्रोथ ऑफ इमोशनल अवेयरनेस एंड स्किल स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम इन्फेंसी कंटिन्यूइंग through adolescence and adulthood basically. So basically in this what happens is like again, when you are very like in very like your childhood, like infancy, you can see again bonding with caregivers and expressing basic emotions basically like joy and distress. This is what you can express. So your emotion, a minute, yeah, it is emotional development. that how emotion you are very much connected to people. Then toddler holds me, you are able to recognize and naming emotions, for example experiencing traumas due to I mean tantrums due to limited regulation skills. Now preschool, when you are start going into school, start making your friends and all, you start expressing also wider range of emotions and begin emotional control as well. like तुम्हें पता होता है कि अच्छा ठीक है अब किसके टाइम में क्या एक्सप्रेस करना है कब नहीं करना है. Then when we are talking about school age, it's about understanding complex emotions, for example and managing social and emotional challenges. And then adolescence, that is about handling intense emotions and forming deeper emotion connection. So this is all about emotional development. Then what we have is like cognitive development. Cognitive में तो again the more when you start growing up, आपके attention perception कि किस तरीके से आप क्या चीज perceive कर रहे हो society में या फिर anywhere, your thought process, your memory, problem solving, all these things, your executive functions also, like higher order cognitive skills such as planning, decision making, flexible thinking, all this thing also starts growing up basically. Thank you, Vidya. Then your lastly is moral development. That how morally you are developing. Like you start understanding the more, like as you are growing, you start understanding okay, what is fairness, what is justice, what is rights and responsibilities. Apart from this, you also start understanding अच्छा ठीक है, how as a person I am supposed to what is my value and how I am supposed to follow my value. For example, if I am a like personality, I'm a kind of personality which follows the value of honesty. So I'm going to try to ensure that no matter what anything is happening with me, I'm going to follow on honesty. If I'm a kind of person who is very dishonest, तो मैं हर जगह झूठी बोलूंगी. So I'm very much aware about कि अच्छा ठीक है मेरे morals value कैसे develop हो रहे हैं, my beliefs basically for any particular thing. And then also my language development, like it involves learning to understand and use language for communication basically. It includes acquiring vocabulary, grammar, and effective communication skills. So all these things. Then we have some of the factors basically affecting human development. Like how, because of some of the things that maybe affect human development, या तो बहुत अच्छा कर देते हैं तो बुरा कर देते हैं. So the thing is, first is hereditary factor. The child carries genetics endowments from his or her parents. It's a genetically transmitted characteristic from one generation to next. So basically hereditary also. Like as we were talking about, some of the factors basically come in your development because of nurture, that is again environment, and nature, that is because of hereditary. तो हेरिडिटरी की वजह से भी कभी कभी आपकी ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इम्पैक्ट करती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल योर, अगर if because of genetics passes and maybe probably because of genetics there is some issue in your brain, so you won't be able to develop maturation that easily as compared to the other people. So genetics impacts a lot. Then age of mother also basically, women between 60 to 35 have a healthier environment for a fetus than a woman under 16 or over 35. So if, that also depends on when you are growing. So if your mom is like around 35 something like that, or not your mom, like I mean like any woman, if then she is giving you either under 16 or over 35, so that time the fetus is not that well growth and not that basically a good, not in the good environment. So that also impacts basically as a human development. And then your endocrine system also, like hormones secreted by endocrine glands and all this thing basically. You're going to learn about endocrine system also very soon. Yeah, then the lastly we have environmental factors. Like over here again, this is the nature one, this is the nurture one. Yeah, there we have seen how parental environment, that how they are treating you basically, how school environment, so social economic status, food, nutrition, physical and psychological trauma, and all these things basically helps you to develop like your environmental things. Yeah, then we can see challenges basically during the stage of development. Yeah, don't worry, we are only remaining with the two slides basically. Okay, so challenges and yeah, challenges basically during the stage of development. Okay, so the thing is, firstly is the genetic disorder such as chromosomal abnormalities. Like it is the same thing as when we were talking about like during the parental period. अगर starting में ही when the baby is in like the in abrogynous या फिर fetal में any such thing, and if that particular time any disorder such as chromosomal abnormalities or your CNS malformalities, any such thing, if any of these all things are occurring, it can can be basically of two types, structural or numerical. So because of this it can form like diseases such as rubella, uh, measles, mumps, and all these things. And also drugs and chemicals can, impact a lot. So always try to ensure, whenever the child is in this stage, we are, being very much healthy. Then, challenges during the infancy period, like basically birth to 3 year, basically. In this, what happens is the complication during the time of birth, multiple birth, or post maturity, or prematurity, basically, or traditional beliefs about birth and attitude of the parent. So these can be one of the, challenges. Another is illness, accident, and obesity, speech problems, and social problems, basically. Like during your preschool period, because of, genetics and like other factors also, if problems can come. For example, you can be lot, like you might have seen some student, extremely ill every single time. So it is because of that only, where because of, genetics or environment, they are not able to properly develop, especially because of genetics. And every single time their immune system is also not that properly developed, like their microglia, because of which, they face every single time problem. Then accidents and obesity, and then speech problem and social problem also. Then what we can see is like, yeah, in the middlehood, basically, school success, developmental disorder, child maltreatment, basically all these things. And again, as I'm saying, do not worry about this all thing, because anyways we're going to cover every single thing in our another section. That's why मैं ऊपर ऊपर से बता रही हूँ. So these all are just related to all the problems that we face. Okay, because of genetics and all this thing. Again, when you will going to grow up, then in your adolescence, like 12 to 19 years, you start facing problems related to your identity. You want to create your identity. Sometimes you feel, you will going to feel confusion related to your roles in your society. You're going to feel confused to, related to your own particular gender as well. Then there will be problem related to identity achievement, कि चलिए कि मैंने ये achieve किया, how can I create more identity related to that. And apart from this, how can I, focus on my career, or maybe can see my goals and all. So all related to this all thing, like challenges related to your adolescence. So yeah, this was all about development, growth, development, and all this thing. We had already covered, like, how growth is basically, it is only physical, whereas development impacts, how a physical, cognitive, emotional, social, and moral things. And we have also seen, like, what all are, the some of the things from which, development occurs. And there are debates, for example, nature versus nurture, stability versus, change, then early versus later experiences, all these things. So these also impact. And then we have seen कि अच्छा ठीक है, what all are the challenges because of genetics, or maybe other factors, because of this, challenges in developmental, कि development में क्या क्या challenges आ सकते हैं, and at what stage. So yeah, I hope, mm, give me a minute. Yeah, I hope this was clear so far. Okay, yeah, thank you, Radha. And if you people have any kind of doubt or any such thing, please feel free to let me know, so that I can also clear all the doubts and anything. And if there are any such things, okay? Okay, thank you so much, Radha. Okay, bye bye. Yeah, bye, Radha. Also, if you have doubt, Radha, feel free to do let me know, call me, or maybe ask me directly on chat, or maybe on WhatsApp also, okay? Yeah, thank you.